Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to explore Tempo. It's a new competitor out of Y Combinator. It looks like a pretty good tool. It tries to bridge the gap between design and code, bringing more design elements into the AI tool. So you can see user flows and those sorts of things and screen design while you're actually coding. Let's have a look at the landing page. There's some interesting stuff here, like you can play around. I think they're trying to emphasize that it's a team collaborative tool where multiple people can come in and collaborate like you do in Figma. And they have an import from Figma. So they're really trying to target designers as their core audience. And you can go through a tour here of everything they have. But let's jump into what happens once you log in and get started. I've logged in, already have an account. So I'm going to try the same prompt that we used to test out Lovable, except I've added this little bit of text here about building a database of chemicals that are commonly used in cosmetics. So let's see how it goes so we can have an apples for apples comparison, or as close as we can, for what we tried in Lovable. So let's hit next and see what it does. And as usual, this is totally unscripted. I just edit out any sort of personal details. I don't script any of my videos. I don't want you guys to see an honest, real take of how these things work. And you can see right now it's building out the design. It's got a user flow here and a build plan here. And these are the actual screens it's building out of the design while it's coding. And it's giving you a walkthrough here of what's happening. So we're wireframing, creating routes, generating ingredients list, which is one of the tasks I gave it. I did tell it to keep that as a database of ingredients. It's not something I asked it to have as a publicly facing list, but let's see how it's interpreted those instructions. And it's got a long list here of its build plan, and we can watch what it's doing as it goes. So it's building it as if it's creating design elements here. So you've got a header component and nav bar component. And it's generating all of these on the go. You got your scanner, which is one of the elements. So yeah, it's creating components, and I guess that's in React, and it's building out all the screens as we go. Let's zoom in, see what we've got here. Oh, too far. And as it goes, it forces you to go onto the screens that are finished or that it's working on, even though I want to see what's happening earlier on here. That's a bit strange. I'm pretty sure some of these were already populated. Okay, so you're actually seeing the coding errors that you would be familiar with if you've used a vibe coding tool like Replit or V0. These are all the TypeScript errors that come up when it's building. So all you're seeing here is a multiple previews at the same time, whereas in Replit or V0 you see one preview at a time, and here you're seeing the preview of the whole app as it's going, and it looks like it's fixing things as it goes through the code. Saved products. Okay. Interesting. And it's created a database of the ingredients as we asked it to. Only problem is it's misinterpreted it as something that's publicly facing rather than something that it uses as a database to power the app, which is what I asked it to do. And I guess that's a ingredients details page. Yep, ingredients details. And very similar results to what we had in the Lovable app. Slightly different UI, obviously, but very similar results. Four prompts left today. So yeah, you get some free prompts. Let's hit preview and see what it does. Nothing loading. Oh, that's no good. So to be honest, I have tried this before and I didn't get that great results. So it promises a lot, but the end result doesn't seem to work. Enter preview mode. Preview. Nothing. Okay. Let's go to this page. Preview. Nothing again. Okay. So either I'm missing something or there's something wrong with the app. But it's built. Let's go to code. See if there's anything here. Okay. Let's just say home page is not rendering. All I see is a white screen. Please fix this issue. And see what it does. Leave it open-ended. Oh, okay, we have a home page. It seems that I can only preview it in design mode at the moment. Cosmetic scanner, search database, say products. Okay, so that's good. And if you hit search, where does it take you to? Oh, try to zoom out the wrong way. Okay, not sure what happened there. It's reloaded everything. Okay. What's it doing now? Is it me? Is it just restarted the whole thing? Let's see. Okay, we have an app. Great, finally. So you can scan a product, search database, save a product, recent insights, ingredients to watch. That's nice. Skincare tips. Okay, so this is better results than I had last time. Last time I tried to build an app for my portfolio and it went nowhere. It just got stuck. So it seems to have improved. Let's wait until it stops. Yeah. Hire a human. I see this interesting idea of hiring an expert. Always happens when these apps are in their first few versions. They always put in a marketplace for hiring an expert, and probably happens to be their own people, mainly because the code that is generated isn't that great to start with. But once you get down the track and there's a few versions of learning, it gets more stable. And that's what I found with Replit. Replit is much more stable now that they're on version 2. Same might happen here. And it's quite a big promise what their app is promising. Bridging the gap between design and code is a very big ask. It's a dream of every designer. But the way I see it is designers should really be careful what they wish for, because they may end up becoming more programmers than designers once the gap is bridged. So that's a bit of a delicate area. How far do you want to stretch design as a role is something that I worry about. Having led design teams in the past, it's always a case where design is being stretched to fit 5, 6, 7 different roles instead of, okay, I'm just a brand designer or I'm just a product designer. That's where I want to focus. You always get stretched out to fit everything they want you to do. And now we're being stretched into the space of coding. And I think that's going to happen more with these sorts of tools. So let's see, is it finished? I hope so. Looks like it's finished. Text recognition. Okay, so it's done quite a bit of work there. So let's see how it renders. Not sure what happened there. All the color has gone from the screen. Scan ingredients. What does it do? Nothing. Okay. Manual search. What does it do? Nothing again. So very mixed results here from this product. Whereas with Lovable, we had something working right off the bat in the first couple of minutes. And it needed some work, but the base of what it did was very solid. Whereas now we've got this, which is quite glitchy. Like you can see here, the preview here, there's colors on the screen. When I preview it in the browser, it goes black and white. Well, anyway, let's not get too far into testing. Let's try some things on screen here. See what this does. Okay, so it's automatically responsive. That's pretty good. How do I change back? Okay, I have to zoom in for the UI to work. Go back to desktop. Whoa, okay. So for some reason on desktop, it's black and white. Well, some strange things to deal with here. But I'm sure it's fixable. The overall issue that I'm finding is mixed results. So the core idea of the app is pretty good. So I definitely give them marks for creating something that has a very good concept behind it, trying to make it more design centric. But the results seem to be a bit mixed. So you can connect Superbase, which is pretty easy. Let's see if this sorts anything out. It'll be the same as what happened on the Lovable app in our previous video. Okay, that's no, we want to I don't want to do that. So this is another thing. This code base already has that tool built from the Lovable app. Potentially you could pull in data from a previous attempt on another tool. Okay, if I choose different org, no, I don't want to choose different org. I want to choose a different project. I want to be able to create a project. Is it letting me create a project? No. So do I have to now go out of here to create a different project in Superbase? Nope, it doesn't give me the option to do that. Now, I did have the option to do that previously. That's how I got Superbase set up to start with. But for some reason, there is no option. And here it goes again. It's generating something else all over again. But it's decided to create some onboarding. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think this product is really ready to be consumed yet, in my opinion. I would say, don't know what's happening there. I would say it needs a few versions before I would jump on there and start using this the same way I use Replit. And even though the visual tools are great, they need to work. There's no point if they don't work. Like right now, there's no interface. The interface seems to have disappeared, and all I've got is the canvas, and I don't know what it's doing. So I'm going to exit again and log in again. And we're here. And look what it's done. I didn't ask it to do that. It just decided to go off and start working on that. Figma extension. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's just do that. Okay, what have they actually done here? Okay, so it's only useful to use in dev mode. It's not actually letting me do anything useful. It's mainly for importing my designs from Figma into Tempo. What would be really good, if anyone from Tempo is listening, is to be able to download an iteration of this into Figma and make edits visually and push them back into the actual canvas. So let's see if this is still. Yeah, I think the only way I would be able to fix this is if I went to Superbase separately, logged in, created a new organization, and then I'd be able to select it, which is a bit silly because I created the Superbase account initially from inside Tempo, way before I even did the Lovable demo. So if I have a look at the Design System tab, let's see what we have here. Okay. Let's have a look. Create new story. Okay, so it's to create reusable elements as if you have a design system. So if we zoom in, click this. Okay, and I guess you add notes. Don't know. I guess I should watch the tutorial. This is interesting. There is some tools here for drawing canvases and connecting canvases as if you're using Figma. And I guess there is some basic tools, like you can draw different layouts. Yeah, you can create routes between pages, I guess. You could create text. That's interesting. So they are starting to build out some of the design tools that you would see in Figma. I guess their end goal is to be able to replace Figma altogether, which is brilliant. I think it'd be great to have a tool where you work on the design and you can use the AI to generate the code that makes that design functional. That would be ideal for designers. But again, like I said earlier, it's going to push the role of designers even further and further into developers. There's not going to be a line there. And for designers that like to stay in the visual space where they are problem solving a user flow, problem solving what the end user is doing and converting that into a visual solution, their context switching is going to stretch them very far into taking it from that phase into how do I actually build this thing? How should I structure this thing so an AI can make it functional? That's a big jump. So they should create some tools in here that make that jump a bit smoother. Some developers don't think like a designer, some designers don't think like a developer, and there's always going to be that barrier. And tools like this are going to have to educate people on how to blend those skill sets. But this, I think, is the start of that approach. So if I click AI and click a component, I've used this before, I can then change this component with a prompt here in the AI. I've only got one left, so I won't bother doing that now. But yeah, you can pick something that's on a screen. Let's say this in particular, and I'd go in there, and so if I zoom in just to make it easier to see, I'd be able to go in there and give it a prompt to change its functionality. And I guess you can pick what model, but Claude Sonnet 3.7 is really good, and you'll find that most of these vibe coding tools are using Claude Sonnet. So no need to change it. I guess you would change it if you want something simple and you want to use up less credits. But yeah, that's it really. There's lots of micro steps you can do here. There's smaller tools you can use in fine tuning, but I think, look, overall, it's pretty good. It's promising. It just needs a bit of polishing before I would swap from what I'm currently using to this. And, all credit to them. They're a startup out of Y Combinator that is just launched. So for them to compete with these big players straight away, that's a big achievement. Let's hit share, see how far we get. Deploy to, haha, Tempo Beta. Nice work. So they're creating their own deployment method now. I guess they're going to have the Superbase or something else in the back end for deployment, but they're obfuscating that so you don't have to worry about it. If I hit deploy, let's see what it does. Not that it's working, but let's see what it deploys. Yeah, I think we need a bit more control in when it's working and why it's working, because it seems to just go off on its own. Let's see what it's done here. Okay, so we're actually looking at the live Yeah, same problem as before. Not much better. Menu does nothing. There's no functionality behind any of these tools. Yeah, definitely needs work, but it's a good start. So to wrap up, I would say I would give this a 3.5 as a tool at the moment, mainly because I just have not had any success using it yet. And there are lots of usability issues where there's a dead end, like you saw with the Superbase issue. I now have to leave this tool to go and do something in Superbase to come back and connect this properly. Unless it's my first project. If it's my first project, it lets me create a Superbase account, set up a project, and then come back in again. If it's not, you're stuck. Things like that need to be ironed out. There's a lot of work that you can do in here that is hard coded. Like they've got interfaces for creating payment collection, like integrating Stripe and stuff like that. It's not done via chatting with the bot. It's done via actually going in there and filling out details in an interface. Like there'll be a form if you choose to have a Stripe integration. I can't remember where I saw it, but it is in there somewhere. You could probably have a look at the tutorials to figure that out. But yeah. Okay. It's detected some issues. Let's fix them with our last prompt. See what it does. But yeah, there is a lot of controls you can deal with here. Here we are, create repository. So what are we going to call this? Cosmetics scanner. Okay. Let's give it access. No. Let's just say all. And just create a new one when we get in there. So this is what it actually let me do with Superbase. Okay. Great. Will let me create now? Nope. Okay. It's connected. Great. Meanwhile, it's broken everything. Let's go back to here. Syntax error, fix with AI. Is it actually fixing it? I should also say there are other ways of creating other than starting with that chat interface. I'll see if we can get back into here. You can go create project. You can connect it to an existing one. So I could bring in my other project, Dividend Dynasty, into here, and I'd probably break everything because it's huge, and I could edit it. But I would prefer not to do that. But I could go here, and there's frameworks. So you could change from, I think this is fight to next, and then you can pick stripe here. This is what I was talking about before. So to go from Vite to next, you can change them. You can go, okay, Superbase and Stripe, and then set up integrations. And when you do that, it'll give you a form for each of these to set them up properly, which is, I think, a lot more stable and a better interface for things like Stripe APIs. Whereas in Replit, you give it the API keys, and then you have to just converse with it to tell it what to do the integration, and you have to test it to make sure it's actually done the job properly, which is hit and miss, to be honest. Like when I did my Stripe integration, I did it 3 or 4 times before it worked in Replit. So this might be a much more stable way of operating. So you then go into setup, you do your connection. This is what I was talking about before. If you click connect, it lets you create a project. So if we go authorize, didn't let me do it. You can only select from these projects, but this portfolio inactive project is the one I created when I first set up my Superbase account, which was in this interface. It opened a separate window and I went through the setup process. So I won't go through this Stripe connection now either, but there is a form. You can see it on the Tempo AI tutorials. If you go have a look at their tutorials, they'll show you in one of their promo videos as well that you fill out a form, and it's a lot more structured, which these areas, to be honest, you need structure. It shouldn't be something you're doing in a chat interface. So I give them extra points for that. That's a lot better UI. So go back, get back into our project, see if anything's fixed. We still got this syntax problem, but it looks like it's loaded fine this time around, maybe, if I'm lucky. Anyway, you guys get the gist of it. It needs some work. And there are some genuinely good elements to this system, but in terms of the output needs a bit more refining before it gives you the results it wants. I like the mermaid map code generator to see the user flow in a mermaid diagram. That is cool, but this is very much the thinking you would have when you're doing designing the service, designing the UX, and designing user flows. This is how you think. You think in this style. This might not be the same style other people think in unless they have a design background. But for me, since I do have a design background, this is very useful for me. So I can go in and check if there's anything here that needs fixing. Doesn't seem to let me change any of it though. It's just generating it so to give me an understanding of what's there. And this thing here where I've opened up the code, that's great, but it's off screen and I can't actually access it, which is a bit concerning. So let's leave it there because I could probably dive into each of these forever. But for now, I think this gives you a fair overview of Tempo AI. In terms of comparing it to Lovable or Replit or V0, they're still far ahead. It's taking the same approach as V0. It's being a bit more bold with how it brings in design into the process and a bit more structured with how it connects with APIs. but still the output is not there yet, and they need a bit more polishing. But I'm rooting for these guys. I hope they do well, because it's a great concept, and they've definitely approached it in the right way. So that's all for today. Let's wrap it up, and we'll catch you next time. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Share my videos with people that you may think could benefit from this information. Every bit helps, and it also encourages me to continue making videos. So thanks. We'll catch you next time.